And just like that, we're going to need a few of these. Hello everyone, the December Review here, back again with a TV show review. Today, we have the first 2 episodes of the continuation of the HBO smash hit Sex and the City, repackaged as And Just Like That. Spoilers are ahead, so if you haven't seen the new show yet, please check that out first.
Oh, honey, I'm home.
I remember when you kept your sweaters in the stove.
There are always going to be roads not taken.
So you can't have it all?
No.
You can. It's just really hard.
You're not happy with who you are? Step out of that box and change!
It's been 12 years since we last saw this cast together in the fun but somewhat underachieving second SATC film. And it's been 18 years since the final episode when the show ran for 6 seasons between 1998 and 2004. There was a prequel series on the CW network titled The Carrie Diaries, which ran for 2 seasons, but now the original stars are back to continue its original storyline in episodic format. Well, most of the cast is back. Kim Cattrall is absent after a very public divorce from the series with severe discourse between her and Sarah Jessica Parker. For fans of the show, it's unfortunate. The beauty of the series was having these 4 distinct personalities together, which gave the audience someone to identify with. Think of it as 4 puzzle pieces that fit together to create the full picture. Their friendship together as depicted on the show highlighted the many situations the story found itself in, which always came back to having their bond together as the show's foundation. But alas, things change, and just like that, picks things up with our now 3 leads, Carrie, Charlotte, and Miranda, still navigating their way through the busy Manhattan streets. The show wastes little time explaining Samantha's absence, as we find out in the first scene that Carrie has moved on from the column business, which in turn meant Samantha was no longer needed as her publicist, so she got upset and moved to London. What I found interesting, though, through these first 2 episodes is that they don't just explain this and sweep it under the rug. Samantha's presence is felt throughout. Carrie has moved on from her column and is now focusing in on, of course, podcasts, where she has a show with 2 others and is learning the ropes of the medium. Her and Mr. Big are still happily married and as charming together as ever. Miranda has taken a career swerve and has started a degree on human rights and begins to take her first class. She and Steve are navigating their way through parenthood and trying to make things work. Steve has lost a lot of his hearing, and Miranda appears to have taken up a bit of an alcohol issue. Charlotte is as neurotic as ever and still with Harry. Her oldest is performing at a recital and she really wants Carrie to go, even though her and Big have plans to go away. Charlotte convinces her to push the trip back, and that's where the story really begins, as the introductions are out of the way in episode 1. The final minutes spell out how and where this series is going in rather heartbreaking fashion. Fans of the series who follow along in interviews will no doubt know that the twist ending of episode 1 was long discussed throughout the years, so it shouldn't be a surprise overall. However, that doesn't make the departure of one John James Preston any less emotionally damaging. The lead up to this moment was exceptionally well crafted, and thankfully it was obvious within the first few seconds, so I didn't turn into a total mess. Just 2/3 of a mess. Series mastermind Michael Patrick King has said that he couldn't have returned to the series without a proper narrative for Carrie. His stance is that Mr. Big has always come and gone throughout her life, and that the overall theme is for Carrie to be able to stand on her own. It's as shocking of a TV moment that I can remember for a show that I've been following. I have mixed emotions on it. It's obviously sad to see Mr. Big go. The final moments of them together will be burned into my brain from here on out. When he tilts his head up seeing Carrie when she comes home, well, it's chilling. And I'm sorry, but why didn't Carrie pick up the phone immediately? I understand the show was going for the emotional lightning rod and she was obviously in shock. Come on, pick up the phone, Carrie. The show obviously takes a much more somber turn, with humor finding its way through the supporting cast, of which Anthony and Stamford are here and as charming as they ever were. The events only heightened with the recent loss of Willie Garson, which makes seeing Stamford in his glory A bit bittersweet, but a touching reminder of his greatness with the role. For the new cast members, we have Jay Diaz, the stand-up comedian / podcaster host who Carrie is teamed up with, and Nia Wallace, the professor for Miranda's class. Another theme so far seems to be finding your way through life in new situations. For Miranda, her new degree is met with some truly cringe-worthy moments. Her relationship with Nia is not off to a great start, and her drinking only seems like it's going to collide eventually for everyone. For Carrie, it's picking up the pieces of her life and finding a way to continue on. Miranda has already openly stated her regret for having Carrie go to the recital in the first place, opening up the door for Big to be alone at his final moment. Carrie showed frustration with this as well. It will be interesting to see if this manifests throughout the season or if that one moment was enough to get it out on the table. Which circles me back to Samantha. Like I said, they aren't ignoring the character so far. In episode 2, some flowers were sent over, and when it's revealed to be from Samantha, it was a stinging reminder and a moment of remembrance. She also texted Samantha to thank her, a text that has gone unanswered so far. I'm willing to bet a response will happen by the time the season is concluded. Speaking of which, it's time for me to throw out a big prediction for the show. I have nothing to base this on other than how nicely I feel they have dealt with the Samantha situation so far, as they haven't just removed her from the story and moved on like nothing happened. I'm glad they went this route, and it gives me an idea that somewhere around the final 10 minutes of the last episode, Samantha will appear back on the show. I know, it's probably not going to happen seeing how ugly things got in real life between everyone. But seeing how things have played out so far, a text back would be nice, but a walk-on would be a grand slam and show that people can work through their differences. Oh, and we better see Aiden at some point.
Hey, this is the designer. This is Aiden Shaw.
Hey, yeah, great stuff.
Oh, thanks, man.
So overall, and just like that, has thrown the SATC community into overdrive with its rather bold and emotional return. The series has always been a bit amplified with its selfishness, and that lives on in the lives of these characters to an extent. Outside of some really odd choices by Miranda that seem out of character, the show for me seems to have picked up gracefully enough from where it ended, even with the lack of now 2 major characters. Prior to the end of episode 1, there are some pretty good laughs to be found. Mr. Big gets some well-crafted lines.
I feel like that's a trick question.
It will be interesting to watch how things go now that the setup is complete. To say that they have gone out of their way to subvert certain expectations would be a fair assessment. On one hand, that's needed to keep the show relevant for its cast and crew, but as an audience member, it's tough to see someone like Big go, especially in such an emotionally done way. As Carrie asked way back in Season 6, Episode 3, can you get to a future if your past is present? It's an honest question, and one I am sure will be looked at as the series continues to evolve. For now, Carrie's future is at its biggest crossroads.
And just like that, after all the years and all the changes, you're still you.
If you like this video, please subscribe to the channel for more, and let me know your thoughts on and Just Like That in the comments section below. I mean, Big, come on. Did they really have to do that? Ugh, that was brutal. Mr. Big, of all people. Unbelievable. I tell you.